Hey folks, this is Best in Slot. Hope you all having a lovely Friday, getting hyped for the weekend. We have some quick dinosaur news today about Jurassic World Dominion. Spoilers will be inside. I've decided to try to hide it in the title and thumbnail, but of course from this point forward, all is fair game. So if you want to avoid all spoilers for the film, why did you click this video? But this is your last chance to turn back now. Are you gone? Good stuff. So this news comes about thanks to, I saw it by Brysonator100 on Twitter. I will link their profile down below if you want to follow them for news and stuff like this. And they posted an interview that Sam Neill has done with a newscaster. I think it's an Australian network. And he was discussing Jurassic World and working on the set. I'm going to play that video for you in its entirety now, and then we'll discuss it.
But is anything more difficult than a dinosaur?
Yes, well, I've just had the last 5 months working with dinosaurs, and it was really fun to do. Not least because it was a bit of a return to the sort of original Jurassic, where we had these enormous, life-size dinosaurs to deal with. We had, for instance, I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to tell you this, but we had a dinosaur called a Giganotosaurus, which I'm not an expert in dinosaurs, I suppose I should be, but apparently that's the biggest dinosaur that's ever been discovered. And it could, it could eat you in a second if the guys on the controls didn't like you.
Amazing.
Sam.
Now, of course, the interesting thing there was the reveal of the new dinosaur species, but there were a few other little interesting comments made as well. The first is that he said it's the biggest dinosaur ever. Now, rather than thinking he's talking about the wrong dinosaur, I think we can assume instead that what he meant was the biggest carnivore, the biggest theropod dinosaur, basically. And Giga is, I'd say by most definitions, not quite the biggest. I'd say Rex and even Spino, they're all kind of fighting up there at the top, depending what measurement you take. But if you go for length and stuff like that, then the Giga has a claim to that prize. So I think we can forgive Sam for that. And maybe in the film, we'll do some speculation at the end, but they're introducing the Giga as the big new predator, the thing to compete with Rexy, since Rexy doesn't really have a hybrid to battle this time, if Rexy's going to be more involved with the film. The other thing he said that really excited me actually was he mentioned how it was like the first time working with a big animatronic again since the Rex. So the Rex was, of course, we had a 3D CGI shots when it stepped out into the rain and all that kind of jazz, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of the shots in the car and a lot of the contact with the Rex in the first scene in particular was done via a huge animatronic head, though, like puppeteered head. And it seems like the Giga is going to get the exact same treatment. And that's really exciting for everyone who's a fan of the series, basically. I think one thing we've always wanted is more and more animatronics brought back into the film as much as possible, because even now, if you go back and rewatch Jurassic Park, as much as it's an all-time classic that holds up so brilliantly well, there are a few CGI scenes that, the first Brachiosaurus scene, for example, is majestic and beautiful, but the Brachiosaurus itself, even in the updated HD version, doesn't look fantastic. Even the T-Rex scene is showing its age a little bit, and that benefits from the rain and the darkness, whereas the animatronic head in the T-Rex scene still looks absolutely fantastic and always will. That will never not look great. So more animatronics and stuff like that is really exciting to see how they design this Giga and how they introduce it into the film is going to be really, really cool. He does pronounce Giga wrong. I've checked. I checked many years ago when we started to cover it on Jurassic World Evolution, but it should be Giganotosaurus, I believe. I believe that's how the guy who named it, who is a Portuguese paleontologist, that's how he pronounces it, so I figured that should be the way we do it, basically. Now, the final thing to talk about, I really don't want to take up too much of your time tonight. It's Friday, you can't really go out and do anything, so you probably should just stay here and watch my videos, but is what will this Giga look like? So I've already talked a little bit about how it may be part of the film. Maybe, they need a big threat dinosaur. Maybe they don't want Rexy to be involved in that capacity at all. She's getting old now. Maybe the Giga will be the Rexy stand-in, the Indominus Rex stand-in, the Spinosaurus stand-in. It'll be the next antagonistic large theropod, because most of the films have had one. I think Fallen Kingdom would be the only one that didn't really have one at all. So I think that might be a solid bet for the role. And maybe like, oh, as an idea, maybe Rexy and the Giga do end up fighting, but that's, you know, Rexy takes down the Giga, but takes lethal damage. Rexy, you know, fades out essentially. Because I think Rexy may be killed off at the end of Fallen Kingdom, and maybe an epic battle with the Giga would be the way to do it. I'm okay with less dinosaur battles, frankly, but we'll see what happens. Now, as for how it's going to look, of course we do have, as you've seen throughout this video, the Jurassic World Evolution Giga. Has been knocking around for a long time now, and it's not a bad base to base their design off. It's not my favourite looking dinosaur in the world though. I don't believe we've had the films follow the games necessarily, but there isn't strictly a reason why they shouldn't do that. And if the filmmakers like Frontier's version of the Giganotosaurus, I should say, then there's really no reason not to include it in that design. However, if they wanted to be pretty cool, they could go back further into Jurassic Park canon. Giga did exist somewhat in the films already. It was part of the DNA for the Indominus Rex. Makes sense that someone would have one. Even Dr. Wu could have one, since that's the case. It also appeared in Fallen Kingdom. It was actually meant to be part of the film-ish. There's concept art for it. I think it's during the lava flow scene. Colin Treverrow did say it was never really meant to make it into the final cut, but there is concept art of it. There's also a wallpaper in Jurassic World, terrible art, in the first film. I couldn't find a good picture of it, but that also has a Giga on it as well. In terms of games, it's not just Jurassic World Evolution. I think Jurassic Park 3, the Dino Park builder had a Giga, but also Jurassic Park Warpath, of course, had a Giga. One with a really nice blue and red striped sort of design. Looks really, really nice, even though the Giga itself has that shrink-wrapped look that a lot of dinosaurs do. But if you look at well-made Giga restorations, I would say the one from Jurassic World Evolution isn't a million miles away. The head shape could probably be altered a little bit, and I would prefer more interesting colouring, but beyond that, it's not that unlikely that we get something looking like that. And I do think the Giga will make a very effective theropod antagonist. There's something quite intimidating about the Giga, the way it looks and its style, and the spines going down the back, if they're going to be included, which I suspect they would be to differentiate it from the Rex. It's funny, I was googling Giga for this video, and I just find these old videos I did. Like, I've got an ARC video here that I did in 2015, where it's just called Giganosaurus. That's it. That's literally it. Yeah, anyways, blast from the past. Anyways, I don't want to drag this out any longer than I have to. So, that is it. Giga is coming to Jurassic World Dominion. What role do you think it will have in the film? How cool is Sam Neill? He did once tweet me. Very exciting. Because I spelled his name wrong. Okay. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you all have a lovely weekend. We will probably be back tomorrow. I kind of want to do a little bit more Google Chimera. I want to mess around with that a little bit more. If you haven't seen my last video on that, definitely go check it out. It is next level art. That's about it though. Please hit the like button if you appreciate this news. Let me know if you're excited about the Giga. I will see you lovely folks in the next video. Cheers, much love as always. Bye bye.